way agriculture is done in recent times is changing rapidly in wake of the rapidly increasing demand pressure created by increasing population and our changing lifestyles. As a result, we see new technologies coming up each year with the promise of increasing the agriculture productivity. But there is one more side to the story, which comes from the fact that invariably as these new technologies are adopted, farming operations tend to become more capital intensive. This happens as the farmers have to invest more in agriculture inputs like better seeds, fertilizers, pesticides along with farming techniques which require expensive equipment and more labor. Now this might not be any problem for the large farmer owners who have the capacity to invest in these new capital intensive technologies, but it is definitely a big challenge for the small and medium farmers who are already struggling to obtain even the bare necessary capital required to conduct a traditional farming exercise. What this necessarily translates into is a potential widening of the gap which already exists between the productivity of large farmers and the small and marginal farmers. To explain this a little further, I would like to give an example of rice farmers in Philippines, where MicroSave has worked extensively in the field of value chain assessment and developing agri-finance product. Small and marginal rice farmers in Philippines rarely depend on institutional sources to satisfy their credit requirement. There are three broad reasons for this phenomena. Firstly, institutional credit is not the first choice for these farmers, as the process is cumbersome, requires a lot of paperwork to be completed, and at times is not possible with many of these farmers working on contracted farms. Secondly, getting credit from a formal institution takes time, while the credit need of the farmer is highly time sensitive, with cash required at least a few days in advance from the sowing time. Lastly, the credit offered by formal financial institutions in most cases is simply not enough to cover the entire capital required for agriculture. Thus, most small and marginal rice cultivators in the region have to depend on the informal sources like traders and input suppliers for their credit requirement, with as high interest rate as 5% per month for the credit supplied. Ultimately, what it results into is farmers making suboptimal farming decisions in order to reduce the overall cost of cultivation and thus reduce the need to take expensive credit. In many cases, farmers refrain from using better quality seeds which require higher investments in agriculture inputs like fertilizers, pesticides and so on. Also, they even avoid farming techniques like transplantation as it increases the labor cost. These factors have a direct negative impact on the production of paddy for the small and marginal farmers. At MicroSave, these findings have led us to believe that to improve the lot of small and marginal farmers, any intervention should perform on at least 4 major criteria, which are: firstly, intervention should provide small and marginal farmers with high quality market-led financial services including credit, which is timely, convenient and matches the cash flow of agriculture, savings both short and long term available conveniently, and crop insurance, which is comprehensive and covers a wide range of risks. Secondly, interventions should provide farmers with an option to add value to their produce before their sale, which could be in form of processing or storage or warehousing. Thirdly, it should provide the farmers with a reliable market to sell their produce at best possible rate, which will in turn provide the confidence to the farmer to adopt superior farming techniques later on. Lastly, intervention should provide support services like extension, service, seed supplies, irrigation facilities and other inputs to the farmers. Thus, in conclusion, any intervention which follows a holistic approach and considers all these factors together is more likely to have a bigger impact on the condition of small and marginal farmers rather than any intervention which focuses on just one of these factors. As per our experience, a value chain analysis could be a very suitable tool to start any such intervention, as it considers a wider canvas and will be able to provide the details which will help in making the intervention to perform better on these criteria and ultimately improving the lot of small and marginal farmers.